Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leading in 5G. I'm Huang Haifeng, a longtime tech observer of the ICT industry. I'll be moderating the session on 5G 2B. Joining me is Robert with Light Reading. I'm in Beijing and he's in London, but we can still be together thanks to AI. Hi, Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert Clark from Light Reading. Welcome to the Leading in 5G webinar series, brought to you by Light Reading and C114. Today, we're going to take a close look at 5G in the enterprise.
4G changes life while 5G transforms society. 5G brings ultimate experiences for consumers and families and transforms the way we work. Last year, 5G drove industry digital transformations. 5G 2B brought commercial value and changed mining, transportation, ports, factories, and healthcare, achieving a breakthrough from 0 to 1. 2021 will be the first year of 5G 2B scale development from 1 to N. Industry standards are developed in coal mining and manufacturing, and successful experience is shared. In manufacturing, 5G enables flexible data collection, fast data transmission, and real-time computing to help enterprises interconnect production factors and collect data, laying the data foundation for digital transformation of manufacturing. Combined with AR and cloud, 5G plays a key role in remote operation and warehouse management. The digital transformation of verticals still has a long way to go. The vastly different scenarios pose challenges to 5G adoption, such as the lack of unified industry standards. Operators hope to work with industry partners to address the challenges and create new values of 5G. The industry needs to answer the following questions. What are the successful explorations telcos have made in 5G 2B? What tangible value do they bring to enterprises? How to scale up the development of 5G 2B in the future to help upgrade the global digital economy?
5G is a transformative technology, not just for telecom operators and their customers, but across the whole economy. It's become industry conventional wisdom that these services, such as massive IoT, edge, and private networking, that take advantage of the capabilities of 5G offer telecom operators some of the best growth opportunities in this new era. We're talking to telcos from Europe and China about some of their investments, their collaborations, and use cases in multiple industries. We're going to find out which services and which verticals they think offer the best prospects, and what are some of the challenges they face going forward.
Now we will invite speakers from operators to share their experience and insights. Let's explore the possibilities of 5G 2B. The first speaker is Mr. Zhang Dong, CTO of Industrial Internet Innovation of China Telecom. China Telecom is a leader in industrial internet. Mr. Zhang is a leading expert on industry digitalization, smart city, and industrial internet. His presentation is the innovative adoption of F5G. Please welcome Mr. Zhang.
Thank you. Hello, I am Zhang Dong from China Telecom. It's my great pleasure to have the opportunity and share how we have innovatively applied F5G. First, I would like to share that over the last 3 years, amazing 5G use cases have emerged in various industries. Based on the nearly 1,000 use cases, we have identified several trends. We believe the priority is to introduce 5G to the mobile elements. Mobile elements include people, vehicles, and things on the move. The industries with operation procedures can benefit from 5G. In our opinion, there are 4 types of use cases. First is to use 5G to enable high-speed mobility. Typical applications of this category include autonomous driving, remote control of vehicles, remote management of ports or warehouses, and AGVs in factory workshops. The second type of use cases is those leveraging the fast uplink and downlink transmission enabled by 5G, which is predominantly related to videos today. In the future, in addition to video, integrated video and other textual form will also emerge. For example, AR and VR are developing fast today. We know that 5G has encouraged the development of multiple industries, such as augmented and virtual reality, artificial intelligence. The third type of 5G use cases focus on scenarios where people and things gathered, such as transportation hubs and places with large number of people or large objects moving around. The fourth types of the use cases is to deploy 5G in hazardous environments. For example, some working environments might expose personnel to toxic gas, to loud noise, or other safety hazards. Then 5G can help to protect people. Based on the four types of use cases, we can see that the industry chain will go through three stages. The first stage is enhanced sensing and diverse experiences. We can enjoy more diverse experiences because of 5G. The second phase is where 5G provides production assistance, helping to manage personnel and factories. The new generation of the mobile technology might even make a manned plant a reality. Also at this phase, 5G connections are deployed for remote operations. The third stage will witness the upgrade of industrial digital transformation. I would like to show you three offerings of customized 5G networks of China Telecom. They stand for three different business models. Wingspan and adjacent modes are more common. They are the two offerings we have. They can be used in healthcare and industry, manufacturing. Let me introduce a little bit more about the three offerings. First is Wingspan. This is an offering where cell sites are deployed for industry operations only. Individual users do not have access to them. Practically, a private network is built for production or for, say, a surgical environment. Adjacent mode goes another step forward, as it features edge computing and cloud network synergy. Some campuses, such as an enterprise with branches located not far away from each other, may subscribe to adjacent offering. Wide area is designed for long-distance communication with WAN access and cloud network synergy. The wide area mode has been applied for some use cases. For example, the China Central Television is delivering converged media using a wide area mode. Next, I would like to put things in perspective. 5G is a capability, but it cannot do everything. It simply provides an opener and more advanced way of communications that can empower various industries and introduce innovative use cases. 5G's benefit also include its ability to streamline and optimize the process of applying data, which contributes to the converged innovation across the industry. As I mentioned recently, 5G has encouraged the development of VR, AR, and AI. There has been great progress witnessed in these industries. We look forward to seeing AI, AR, and VR can be applied in more diverse scenarios. Now, let's have a deep dive into the future of 5G. China Telecom believes 5G will evolve in the following four aspects in the next 3 years. First is edge computing. 5G demands higher overhead and computing workload in the edge clouds and the edge data centers. So new domains of technology emerge. We hope to see more companies bring innovations, which deployed software, hardware, and chips to make the edge intelligent. Second is the direct communication between machines. or between things. When edge computing reaches certain level of maturity, it will remove the automatic control units between two machines, such as the PLC and DCS. A command or execution instruction can be sent from simply one machine to another directly. So, machine-to-machine communication becomes flat. The third trend is the radio lengths will be dynamic. 5G enables a different radio length to be created as an object travels away from the previous one and disconnects with it. Radio lengths can help to protect data, making sure it stays private. With the technology, a fleet of drones, autonomous driving, the communication between vehicles and roads can be safeguarded. Another trend is the scarce spectral resources will be shared. AT&T in the US has been an exemplary model in the industry. They have tried to adopt multiple bands and consider the use of millimeter wave. In China, China Telecom and China Unicom are addressing the scarcity of spectral resources with efforts to deploy and share 5G cell sites. By doing that, we can make use of the 200 MHz bandwidth of the two telcos, which practically doubles the width of the radio highway, allowing the speed of transmission to be faster. This multi-band mode is preferred in places such as airports and train stations. In some special scenarios, maybe in some plants, we will also deploy multiple bands on one site. Another point I would like to discuss is F5G. There's a F before 5G. F here stands for fiber connection. Fiber connections and 5G joining hands will usher in another wave of technological innovations. Between 5G base stations, data is transmitted through fiber optic cables. Fiber optic cables are already applied in industry PON, which, as of today, can already extend the fiber connections to OT. That means fiber connection can be used to control robots. If fiber connections are deployed together with 5G, mining and other use cases in verticals will emerge. In addition, we know that UPF and MEC of 5G can be virtualized. If fully decoupled, they can be deployed on our ONUs and OLTs, introducing more technologies of software and computing capabilities to the same hardware. As a result, 5G and fiber connections can be supported by the same piece of equipment. Enterprises need less hardware and thus easier O&M. This has become a new driving force for F5G. It will facilitate the development of digital economy. We hope to have more telecom equipment manufacturers, sensor makers contribute to the innovation and diversifying use cases. Let's continue with the deep dive. 5G makes it easier for us to collect data. Data can communicate through network connections. The communication of data, if commercialized, can lead to transformation of an industry. With data communicating, more data models, service models, and algorithm models can be created. A larger market will then come into being. For example, factory management. Apart from using 5G for managing production and manufacturing, the management of sales and logistics will be more refined. The refined management will bring transformation to the entire industry. It will also enable the collaboration between enterprises easier. Another deep dive finding I would like to share is the interoperability of data after it is connected. Data is distributed in different enterprises, departments, and institutes, creating data silos. To address that, we would like to create a new model featuring a unified data space with open source technologies and by secure and trustworthy development. This is the ultimate goal of data interoperability. We also will consider adopting DOIP and distributed data based among other technologies to increase the security and trustworthiness of data interoperability. Next, I would like to introduce the implementation of 5G to B with projects. But of course, this is still an ongoing journey. The first implementation is to make a mining site smart. Safety accidents often occurred on mines. There are several pain points that have long been difficult to address. One of them is the dynamics of the underground environment cannot be collected, so site supervisors on the ground are not aware of what is going on under the ground. If there's a new mode of communication that can reach underground and help us monitor the high risks activities, we'll be able to cope with the dangers without having to go down the mine. Such practice can help to reduce casualties. Another pain point is the misalignment of data on and under the ground, causing misinformed decision making. Moreover, it will lead to inefficiency. For example, when there is an alarm, the operation of the whole mine may come to a pause. When there is a safety accident, the damages can be substantial, and it might even cause other problems. We try to use the explosion-proof F5G technology. We deployed the fiber cables along the ore transportation rails and constructed F5G small base stations for gas data collection on the important work platform. We monitored the whole drilling, mining, and the ore transportation process. The entire process of manufacturing, drilling, and the mining is monitored in the real time. We can see that remote control can be implemented in some of the smart mines or gradually. Communication technology and AI algorithms are used to control the equipment from the ground, including the movement of coal cart. We are going to use more learning algorithms and graph-based algorithms to gradually realize unmanned operations in the well. The second case is from the State Grid Corporation. In fact, State Grid rarely makes such an attempt. The 5G network was used as a dedicated network for the transmission and generation of the power. Many technologies must be validated, as the state grid requires a fully security for power transmission. Therefore, the stability of the 5G private network and feasibility of the time control must be validated. I have listed 5 scenarios that we supported. I'd like to talk about one very important scenario, that is 5G plus smart distributed FA. We use FA to connect the network, and by doing that, we can calculate the power outage period of a city, and we can minimize the power outage period. And that plays a very important role in power distribution and power outage control. That's an amazing innovation. And in the interest of time, I cannot elaborate all on the other 4 scenarios. The third case is about, and I would also like to talk about the data and the 5G. There are different types of use We will see 5G encouraging data collection, data analysis, data transmission, data flow, and 5G will also encourage AI. So data governance and operation will become key issues for the industry to consider. For example, who owns the collected data? Who can process, analyze, and apply the data? Then, how should the revenue be shared? What is the business model? In industrial scenario, service personnel and experts in the field tend to process data on site, while in the government and the municipal affair, usually data is collected at the level of a city or at a town. So in different scenarios, different standards must be implemented. Another very important point is we must have data scientists to process and gain insights into data. And these data scientists must have know-hows of different domains. If someone is about to process the data of municipal affair, then they must understand something about the municipal affairs or city governance. And 5G, in particular, F5G, cloud computing, and AI will be deeply integrated and enable all industries. We can say that data will drive the digital transformation of the entire industry and enable sound growth of the digital economy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. We've learned about how gigabit broadband and gigabit 5G will evolve in the future. In the future, 5G, F5G, cloud computing, and AI will enable industrial internet. Next, let's invite Mr. Sun Yun, Deputy GM of the Government and Enterprise BU of China Mobile Zhejiang. As we know, China Mobile Zhejiang is a leader in innovation in China's telecommunication field. They've built the first 5G city, Hangzhou, and the first 5G province, Zhejiang, in China. Today, we're going to listen to their presentation on how new 5G infrastructure will enable the quality development of various industries. Hello everyone, I am Sun Yun with China Mobile Zhejiang. It's my great pleasure to share our practices in building 5G networks. Today I would like to introduce how 5G infrastructure will enable the quality development of various industries. China Mobile developed 5G Plus plan to promote the upgrade of operations, applications, ecosystem, and networks. 5G together with AICDE will facilitate the development of different industries, and we'd like to lead the requirements and create new requirements in the market. China Mobile is now implementing the 5G Plus initiative to establish ourselves as a leader in 5G network deployment and enabler of 5G integration in the industries and a pioneer of using 5G to benefit people. It enables the high-quality development of 5G in vertical industries to lead in 5 areas: networks, capabilities, ecosystem, application, and operations. In 2018, we launched the first 5G city, and later we worked with other telcos in China to release to launch the 5G ecosystem partner conference. And then later we also released the 5G services. All the time, China Mobile stayed at the head of the 5G development. Today, I would like to introduce new infrastructure, capabilities, and ecosystem, applications, and new future. In terms of new infrastructure, China Mobile Zhejiang is actively promoting the construction of 5G information infrastructure. We have provisioned 42,000 5G base stations. Hangzhou and Ningbo, 2 cities, are the 2 leading 5G cities in China. They have implemented leading technologies of 5G. For example, the first cloud based on ARM server. We have also launched the 4.9 plus 2.6 gigahertz network in the 2 cities. For 2B, sometimes we need wider coverage. We are extending the coverage based on the requirements of customers. Wherever there is a service, we will deploy networks. That facilitates the development of 5G. In terms of new capabilities, we are now packing the capabilities into applications so that the entire portfolio system is in place. The traditional SMS is upgraded to the 5G messages, and the IoT is also upgraded. 5G fixed private line and mobile private line are available, and we are now offering 3 types of private network offerings. In the domains of industrial IoT, we are also providing different industrial offerings, satisfying the differentiated demands of customers. When it comes to end-to-end operation system, we have deployed the first 5G plus capability exposure platform. It's a marketplace of 5G capabilities. The one-stop experiences are available. What's more, we have the offerings of O&M defined, covering the service subscription, orchestration, provisioning, O&M, and self-development. The entire cycle is covered. Then we led the industry to establish a 5G industry alliance. At FAR, we have 329 members in the alliance. This is what we do to promote the new ecosystems. The new ecosystem has 3 different committees working on different verticals. And we also established the ecosystem alliance on DICT. We would like to work with government departments, and currently we have signed 5G strategic partnership with 93.7% of the municipal governments in Zhejiang. During a workshop of China Mobile Zhejiang, the general manager of the province, Zheng Jie, was a lecturer, and that encouraged all of us in China Mobile Zhejiang to learn more about 5G. We had the hands-on camps and on-site visits. What's more, we are participating in conferences and summits, and we have established our presence in over 1,600 activities, helping the industry and the ecosystem to grow. In new applications, China Mobile Zhejiang would like to overcome all the barriers to conduct technical and business model validation. And we have been working on 11 projects assigned by the MIIT and over 100 provincial level road model projects. And we are ranking number 1 in winning the awards of the Zhanfang Cup. When it comes to scale promotion, we have defined strategies, business model, business scenarios. We are encouraging the scale deployment of 5G in the 2B market. We work with 18 industry and made Zhejiang a model province for 6 industries. And then I would also like to introduce a specific 5G use case. We have 8 different use cases. First is the 5G AGV. 5G can improve the AGV transportation efficiency by 80%. And we've built the first inspection system powered by 5G. In the past, the inspection could only be done manually, and it took 3 shifts of the workers to perform the inspection. But today, 5G can support AI analysis, AI recognition, and within 60 seconds, the machine can identify if there is a breakpoint in the manufacturing process. In the future, we know that 5G will involve IT, CT, OT technologies, and telecom operators have a very important role. 5G facilitates the convergence of different segments of a society, and it plays a central role in the intelligent and digital transformation of the society, we will continue working with ecosystem to implement the initiatives of the Set Sail project and to achieve breakthroughs in more projects. And I would like to quote a famous saying in China: always move forward to a promising future. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Sun. Mr. Sun has shared how China Mobile Zhejiang comprehensively promoted the 5G Plus initiative and played a leading role in 5G network construction, promoted 5G integration, and pioneered 5G services. They have enabled vertical industries and they have enjoyed the leading position in network capability, ecosystem application, and operation. In the future, China Mobile Zhejiang will boldly go forward, and I believe that these experiences will accelerate the 5G powering industries. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Dr. Yang Lei, Vice President of the Intelligent Manufacturing Research Institute, China Unicom Zhejiang. Thank you for your introduction. Hello, I am Yang Lei from the Intelligent Manufacturing Research Institute, China Unicom Zhejiang. It's my great pleasure to have the opportunity and share how 5G enables digital transformation in manufacturing industry. There are people talking about the real economy in China. It was impacted by the pandemic and international situation, as well as the pressure of industrial transformation and upgrade. The new infrastructure, such as 5G, can greatly drive the demands for communications, computers, and electronics. The technologies in new infrastructure are very tech intensive, so the deployment of new infrastructure will encourage the demands and the supply, as well as to drive the transformation and upgrade of the manufacturing between 2021 to 2035. We expect the economic value proportion of 5G in key industry will continue to increase, with the maximum industrial manufacturing accounting for 28%. So most of the industrial applications of 5G we're talking about will be adopted by industrial manufacturing. Every technological revolution brings with it business disruption and thus countless possibilities. In the 4G era, we have seen 4G brought us the consumer internet. Through consumer internet, WeChat, Taobao, JD.com are our daily life. However, 5G's large bandwidth, low latency, and massive connections will eventually make the Internet of everything possible. Once 5G is combined with sensing technology, control technology, edge computing, artificial intelligence, and big data analytics, it will greatly promote the transformation and upgrading of China's manufacturing and lead us to a fully cloud-based, connected, and intelligent new era. Therefore, when we talked about digital transformation of traditional manufacturing in the past, we primarily discussed about replacing manual labor with machines, factory automation, process automation, or warehouse and logistic automation. Today, with the capabilities of 5G, when we engage with manufacturing on digital transformation, we focused on the applications such as AI, big data, and cloud computing. In fact, when implementing new projects and developing new applications, we feel that we are bringing the sci-fi dreams into a reality. For example, 5G and AR allow people to see the machine's operation parameters with a pair of AR glasses, and with big data analytics, we are able to understand the efficiency of machines. 5G and the cloud PLC can reduce the cost of application deployment significantly in the entire production system because we can increase the precision of control. So, telecom operators, what are our roles? We are focusing on the industrial intranet and internet, and with the capabilities of the industrial internet, we can help to implement innovative applications for industries. We always say that networks is a foundation, platform is the key, and only applications that can address the pain points. And that's why applications are the key of digital transformation. In manufacturing and industry field, there are many smaller segments. Different segments have different scenarios, environments, and requirements. In the last several years, we have been conducting pilots and testing, and we believe that we need to focus on 8 different segments, including the equipment manufacturing, aviation manufacturing, automobile manufacturing, home appliance manufacturing, mining, iron and steel, petrochemical, electrical power. And we have also built some benchmark cases, such as with Shanghai Commercial Aircraft, Sunny Heavy Industrial, Geely, FAW, etc. As we know that many applications, their value can only be demonstrated in specific scenarios. What you're seeing here is a project with a automobile OEM. With technical capabilities of 5G and AR, we are able to see the parameters of the robotics arm's motion in real time. For example, its angle, its angular speed, its load. Then together with big data analytics, we can predict the probability of fault occurrence. In this way, on-site personnel can better manage the equipment and production. Then the picture in the center is a project with another OEM of cars. It's also using AI capability. It uses capability to scan the gap of a door, and at the back end, the computing is done in real time to calculate the tolerance chain, and the data is uploaded to the cloud, and eventually we can generate the result of analysis and to control the manufacturing cost more properly. Then on the right corner is a project we've done with a garment company. With 5G and robot inspection, the company can use the robot to check if employees are conducting their tasks according to SOP. And because the data is aligned with the mass, if any issues happens on an order on a workstation, the robot will go to the corresponding workstation to pinpoint the problem and address the issue accordingly. In this case, we can assign the the trouble ticket in right way and resolve the problem instantly. In the lower left corner is 5G together with AGV. In the past, we used Wi-Fi. When the number of AGV was high, the packet loss rate would go up, and sometimes AGV would stop its operation. But with 5G, the problem can be resolved. If we go another step forward in many garment manufacturing companies, perhaps we can use AGV to carry a sewing machine, because when an order is changed, AGV can carry the sewing machines to quickly become another assembly line, another line of production. That's also an implementation of flexible manufacturing. Then the lower right corner is a project we've done in Tianjin Port and in Broad Port. In the past, we had to assign technicians to climb to a high place to operate the tower crane or gantry cranes. That wasn't very safe. Today, with 5G and cloud PLC, employees can perform the remote operations in a control room. They don't need to climb up high, so the operations become easier and safer. New technologies need many assurances before they can be commercialized. China Unicom has proposed 8 5G enablement actions based on the current situation and issues, including 5G network enablement action for improving the capabilities of operators and AI enablement action for improving our capabilities in AI and big data. China Unicom has a team of nearly 100 people. They are the outstanding talents in the international industry, and we're working with leading companies in verticals to explore different scenarios. At the same time, for some scenarios, we can implement trial and buy model. With the performance of 5G, we can easily connect human, machine, materials, methods, environment, and measurements. By connecting all the parties together, we are able to increase the feasibility of applications in different scenarios. Our goal is to provide a platform, and we're providing the free of charge consulting and planning service to support that. We hope that in 31 provinces, we can quickly implement benchmark projects to accelerate the application deployment. What's more, our capabilities can allow us to provide the free of charge consulting and planning services for industrial customers. We're working with ecosystem partners and manufacturing companies to explore innovative applications in verticals. At the same time, we try to build a unified solution for all industries so that these applications can be implemented quickly. China Unicom has appropriated a fund of 10 billion yuan to incubate great projects, scenarios, and applications to accelerate the adoption of applications in industries. With large bandwidth, with our previous practices, we've learned that 5G's large bandwidth, low latency, and massive connections will see more data uploaded to cloud platform. Then the computing and processing capabilities of the cloud platform are much higher than those on devices. Therefore, requirements for devices processing capability will gradually decrease, which will lead to a rapid reduction of the cost of devices. In addition, because the processing capability of devices decrease, the configuration can be easier, can be lower. Then the cost of device development and the cost of the deployment of the devices will also be lower. Then we will see the acceleration of the commercialization of applications. Then more applications will be deployed on cloud, and maybe some of the applications will be the popular one in the industry. 5G is a cloud-based technology. Then perhaps we'll see more and more applications that rely on cloud edge collaborations. In the past, when we discussed the transformation and upgrading of manufacturing, we focused more on how one enterprise or a group break down the information silo inside the corporation through digital transformation. Today, with the capabilities of 5G and industrial internet, we can break down the information and process silo in the entire industry chain and integrate resources to achieve overall optimization. In the meantime, with 5G and industrial internet and the low-code development platform booming, we can have fast iteration to quickly approach global optimal goal. As I've mentioned, the development of 5G to B services in the future requires more and more insights into specific business scenarios, models of different services. and their specific environments. With joint efforts from providers and customers, we can formulate higher standards and specifications based on new technologies. This will drive the rapid development of the entire industry and realize the rapid transformation and upgrade of the entire industry and improve its international competitiveness. We believe that after combining 5G with big data, edge computing, and artificial intelligence, and apply them in more application scenarios, 5G to B services will develop better and better. Thank you, Dr. Yang. Dr. Yang has shown that 5G, AI, big data, and cloud computing will encourage the industrial IoT to go into a new all-cloud era featuring larger bandwidth, SIM terminals, and cloud applications. Industries can focus on the segments and applications and accelerate its adoption of 5G. And we'll see another wave of growth. Thank you, Dr. Yang. Now let's head over to Robert and see how our international speakers think about the topic.
Presentation. Next, I would like to invite our first international speaker.
Thank you very much for having the opportunity to speak at this webinar with very nice older presenters. I'm responsible within KPN for the introduction of 5G in the business market. And I'm going to give a small update about what we have seen in the last year after the introduction. Okay, good. So our tagline from, let's say, even before the launch was business first, technology second. So we believe that 5G is very importantly is a market challenge, so a business challenge rather than a technology challenge. So technology is important, obviously, but introducing something more, let's say, than mass market services, really services designed for the verticals to do more than best effort, that is more like a business challenge because we need to develop a complete new ecosystem, not only as operators, but together with all different new parties and existing parties. So that's why we always said business first, to discuss with the ecosystem and with our customers where we can provide value together. And then we look towards the technology and sees whether 5G is a fit there. And then when you talk about 5G and the 5G market, it's important to discuss about what market are we building for. We believe that the only sustainable 5G market is the market where the 5G advanced services are premium and recognizable premium. So you can do all the types of services compared to mass market services. So there's a measurable difference and you're predictable on delivering that service. So else there's no willingness to pay if you can do more or less the same, or it's not predictable. And you're still stuck in the same, let's say, mass market services set. So that's really important. So small variances, we're not talking about, it should be really a step change for the customer. The second, we believe that the market can only be global interoperable. So if the market is fragmented over operators or fragmented to countries, that market space will be too small to allow opportunity for entrance. New vertical players, application providers, can be all kinds of new parties taking advantage of these new capabilities. Because if you design a robot which only works in the Netherlands for one operator or a few operators, that market space will be too small to invest and put the best people in. And that's part of the ecosystem should not be underestimated. The strength of the telecom, or let's say the global services, is scale. So if it works in the Netherlands, it can be exported throughout the world and vice versa. And that strength should be aimed for rather than in fragmentation, which will not be the end state. And the third, we believe that the services should be software-based and generic. That means that when the customer demands a service, you can provision it fast. The benefits come fast because you can implement much faster compared to hardware-based models. So the financial risk a customer has and also its future ability to innovate will be greatly benefited if it's software based. Obviously, when there's no coverage, hardware still needs to be deployed, but that hardware should be designed generic so the cost of innovation is shared over many endpoints, even also the mass market. So these are the pillars behind our strategy and going forward and the market we're aiming for. So right now, we believe we are in the Netherlands leading in our ecosystem. And that is based because we started to experiment with the ecosystem in different field labs. Those field labs were around already quite a while with a lot of digital innovations of different verticals. And we added 5G to it. So 5G is not by itself, let's say, the field lab. We try to accelerate existing field labs. And that's so we serve our customers, we serve those existing field labs and try to accelerate that rather than position ourselves above it with our own field lab and try to attract innovations towards us. It's the other way around. We work also in SMB. It's not like a niche technology only for large corporate enterprises. We will work very actively in SMB with business partners to get the scale we want and to get to allow the investment also in our 5G platform. And by that, we see that our relationship is changing with a lot of our customers. So engaging with customers more than classical best effort mass market mobile services, but really talking about their business and how we can support that going forward in the next 5 years changes the relationship and also with whom we're talking with the customer. I've seen at many operators that typically telcos still talk with IT manager and procurement, facing severe price pressure and commoditization. In the end, we lose our relevance there unless we start talking about how we can benefit the business of the customer and try to translate that into our portfolio and what we've seen at other customers. Well, pushing our products is not the way to go. So we really focus right now for the last year on lighthouse customers, which explain the story, how they have designed their digital roadmap and how 5G fits in. So we call that lighthouse customers. In different verticals, we have achieved that. There are many more, of course, but we highlight a few to show to others how they leverage these new capabilities. And if it's important to show that we have something to come to the table with new portfolio. So we introduced on top of our public network value-added services, which we called, which is our 5G portfolio. And those services are designed to deliver that premium. So I highlight two of them: the guarantee bandwidth, which can offer locally a guarantee of bandwidth for various purposes, and the application priority, which provides nationwide the priority and increased availability of certain applications. I'll highlight a few of them later. Customers recognize in the market that we are a thought leader and market leader there. So here you see that we have a very limited emphasis on the technology proof points, which we have, of course, and that we are leading there. But it's really important that your relationship and also your market position is strengthened, much more than showing technology benefits, which are really hard to come by or understand by many of our customers. So moving to the last, okay, where are we proud? Which customers are for the next years to come, where we are part of their digital roadmap and which we help them accelerate through with our capabilities on 5G. So obviously what is being talked about and a lot in the market is the Industry 4.0. And we see that's similar market demand also in the Netherlands. So together with Shell and also the largest chemical facility in the Netherlands, which is Saiter, we work with them on a long-term roadmap with 5G services for various purposes to increase productivity and safety of those facilities. Of the employee, we'll discuss a few of those use cases later. And also of the plant itself by having smarter assets. In the logistics, we see also quite some demand in automation of the warehouse of DHL, which we have in Eindhoven, where 5G offers a much more flexible infrastructure to use AGVs, but also other connected worker applications like AR, which offers quite some benefits in reducing cost and quality in such a warehouse. Also in harbors, we have our first 20-year agreement to really make the fourth harbor of the Netherlands, which is Moerdijk, the smartest in the Netherlands. And I'll highlight where we see also quite some demand is in smart traffic lights and also other type of roadside infrastructure, which is increasingly connected to the cloud, and where existing wired or best effort 4G connections are not good enough or too expensive in terms of wires, and that 5G is needed to provide the quality needed for those applications, or let's say those smart traffic lights, for the benefit of switching them on to green when emergency services come, or just for regular improvements of the flow of traffic, which has a benefit for society. I'll not name them all because it's too long of a list in the end. I can always be contacted later after the webinar. So that's just my short story. It's too much to tell everything.
An excellent presentation. Thank you very much for that. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker.
Good morning, or maybe good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Patrick Waldemar, and I'm a Vice President in Internal Research. In my daily work, I head up the research on next-generation technologies in the Telenor Group, and to be given the opportunity to express my views on 5G for vertical industries, enabled by 5G standalone core. But first, let me tell you a little bit more about the Telenor Group. Telenor was founded in 1855, and in its 166 years, Telenor has evolved from a Norwegian telecom incumbent to an international mobile operator in 8 markets with 170 million subscribers. Telenor's operations are in the Nordics, in 4 markets, and in Asia, in 4 markets. Telenor Research was founded in 1967 and has contributed to numerous innovations over the last 50 plus years. Some examples are the establishment of a satellite network in the 1970s and contributions to GSM and MPEG video standards in the 1980s. Further on, development of the Opera browser in the 1990s and use of mobile data to improve prediction of dengue fever in 2013. Since 2012, we've had research on 5G with focus on network virtualizations and RAN developments. And over the last years, we have started working on 6G. The role of research in Telenor is to help the Telenor Group and the business units in various aspects, as you see here on this slide. So, in order to look into 5G for vertical industries, let's recap what is the 5G shift really about. Well, we have seen the development from 1G to 4G, going from analog voice, digital voice, mobile data to mobile broadband. And the 5G shift has several alternative focuses. It could be about extreme speed, connectivity, and reliability. Another alternative is industrial IoT. Yet another one is tactile internet. And another one, the network society, or the wireless edge. However, in my view, 5G is defined by providing communications to vertical industries. We have just started the 5G journey. Release 15, 16, and 17 will provide us improvements in performance, functionality, and features. Now, I will give more information about how we're working with 5G innovations through partnerships and co-creations. The intention is to illustrate how we have done trials and testing for 5G standalone core and give some more relevant use case examples. So, let me first present to you one of its kind cloud 5G standalone deployment. You can see visually in this slide by the different colors the number of partners involved. To our knowledge, this is the most multi-vendor cloud-native 5G standalone setup. We had the container-based orchestration platform based on OpenShift from Red Hat. We had the Ansible automation platform, ref of previous discussions on zero-touch operations, and we had the performance management, observability, and database as vendor-neutral task components. Then, at the top, we see the cloud-native 5G mobile core. We had subscriber data management, SDM portfolio from Enea, consisting of the UDM, UDR, and AUSF. During our work with the Norwegian Defense, we verified that it worked with defense-grade security. Then we had the AMF and SMF from Casa System, being the heart of this setup, offering a low footprint and a high TPS, and seamlessly integrated into the overall picture. Then comes the network slice selection function, essential for selecting the slices. And the network repository function, offering the service discovery feature, and in addition, it had the possibilities to secure the inter-network function communications through appropriate authentication schemes. Then, and also from Oracle, we had the policy control function and the network exposure function, which makes it possible to expose the capabilities to the verticals in a very secure manner. Then we move over to the green blocks, which are about cyber security monitoring and firewall, ensuring the overall security. The RAM was from Huawei, and it supported 5G standalone. And finally, we used the tools from Emblasoft to perform active monitoring of the whole setup. The main lessons learned from this multi-vendor setup are the following. The onboarding of the network functions on a vendor-neutral platform worked very well. When it comes to integrating the vendor-neutral PaaS components, we still need to do some work, and we're working on it. The integration to a third-party NRF worked very well and gave us a complete running 5G standalone setup. Here, I would like to show a media use case and provide information about 5G end-to-end network slicing with media broadcast. The test demonstrated how to set up a dedicated slice for the Norwegian broadcaster NRK. We transmitted the video from the camera to a backpack with a 5G encoder, which you see in the figure, and then to a 5G base station from Huawei. Then the video was processed by the 5G core and could be watched by NRK in their studio, including the monitoring of the quality of the video. The test was successful. Another 5G innovation platform we make use of in order to co-create with vertical industries is 5G Vini, which is short for 5G Verticals Innovation Infrastructure. This is an EU project led by Telenor Research, including multiple partners, as you can see in the figure. The main objective of the project is to build an open-scale end-to-end facility and to demonstrate that the key 5G KPIs can be met, and in addition to validate the use by the vertical industries. The project has been extended to December 2021, and it is now in its final phases. So far, there are a lot of success stories to be shared, and you can see some of them by going to the project website 5g/vini.eu. Here, I just would like to touch on 2 use cases and vertical industries that we have been working with. The 2 use cases and vertical industries I would like to mention are the defense use case with the Norwegian Defense and a health use case with the Norwegian hospital, Rikshospitalet. In the defense use case, a fully isolated network slice has been implemented, and we have demonstrated running relevant applications in it, as well as ensuring the needed security level. In addition, we have demonstrated an autonomous mobile edge. In the health use case, we implemented an edge solution, ensuring low latency to allow for optimal operation of a pill cam used for detecting colon cancer. Then, to conclude, let me reiterate the main items of this presentation. First, the 5G shift is really about solutions for industry verticals. I have provided information on how 5G Core allows customization requested by the verticals. Second, I have given information on how 5G Core is built using IT network principles and hence is ideally suited to leverage proven web scale technologies. Third, I have given information on the role of 5G Core in network slicing and corresponding use case example. Then, thank you for listening to my presentation on 5G for vertical industries enabled by 5G standalone core.
And that concludes our session today. Thank you very much to all our speakers for the valuable insights you shared on Enterprise 5G in our webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Let's move on to the panel discussion. Welcome. Robert and I will ask our guests some questions. What's the new role for carriers in 5G 2B? How has the way they work with partners changed? Traditionally, operators deploy networks and broadband services to the door of an enterprise, but they don't get into the door. 5G2B is different. It's a private network service. In operators' words, the network crosses the so-called red line and goes into the door. It extends to the office network and production network. That change requires us to clarify the scope of work. We negotiate and learn through trials and errors. Along the way, we gain insights and may find new issues with the just agreed-on model. For instance, operators now have access to the data in production and offices. Gradually, carrier and enterprises become closer partners. Their relationship cannot be simply defined by a contract between A and B, but become a more collaborative one. Second, we need to bring in more industry know-how and professionals in AI and application development. Only in this way can we maximize 5G's value in data collection and application. That's all. Thank you. What about you, Mr. Yang? Let me add one thing. Along the journey of 5G2B, not only the relationship between operators and party B has changed, but the relationship between operators and party A has changed as well. Just as Mr. Zhang said, in the past, for party A, operators were just a provider of communication capabilities, but things have changed. Now operators are involved in the top-level architecture of Party A as an integrator. For instance, we have been working on building future factories in Zhejiang recently. As China Unicom Zhejiang is a contributor to the future factory guidelines, many enterprises come to us and ask us to help them with the top-level design of digital transformation and evolution to future factories. Such involvement helps operators better engage in the company's entire digital journey. That also shows our capabilities of providing overall solutions. In addition, we have worked with a lot of leading industry players. We find an interesting thing. After we have done some cases and accumulated capabilities, they show great interest in working with us to apply those cases and capabilities to the whole industry. Then the role of operators has changed again. In collaboration with leading players, we may set up companies or joint teams to promote our experience to the whole industry. That is another noticeable change. Thank you. How about Mr. Sun? I totally agree with the two guests. 5G2B is about deep integration of IT, CT, and OT. In the process, operators will become a leader in 5G deployment, a promoter of integrating 5G with industries, and a pioneer in providing 5G services for the public. Take China Mobile Zhejiang as an example. We will continue promoting the construction of information infrastructure such as 5G, cloud computing, and big data, build information superhighways in the digital era, and deploy reliable networks to support the construction of new infrastructure. We will also keep enhancing innovation and deep integration of new technologies such as 5G, big data, and AI, and build high-speed information networks to give further impetus to the digital economy. We will make more efforts in creating a prosperous, open, and converged 5G ecosystem. We will engage with more partners to bring mutual benefits to the industry chain. We will also strengthen coordination with China Mobile Group and leverage the core expertise of over 20 professional companies within the group to the benefit of Zhejiang business, bringing 5G to various industries and every individual. Most of the partnerships between China Mobile Zhejiang and industry partners feature a joint innovation mode. Both parties have their own strengths. We have technologies such as network communications, cloud computing, big data, and AI, while leading industry players have a keen understanding of their business and pain points. Collaboration between the two will help them leverage each other's strengths and boost innovation in technology and business. China Mobile Zhejiang has tried this joint innovation mode in some key industries. We have completed over 400 demonstration projects and the technical and commercial verification tests for more than 100 scenarios, achieving a breakthrough from 0 to 1. Next, we will replicate the experience on a larger scale and go from 1 to n. We will apply the fruits of joint collaboration to a wider scale, from 1 product line to n product lines, and from 1 factory to n factories. We will also try applying the experience to micro, small, and medium-sized companies, and the upstream and downstream of the industry chain, to share the benefits of joint collaboration and support the development of various verticals. That's all from me. Thank you. What are the success factors for 5G to be? Could you offer some examples? Mr. Zhang will go first. Some problems need to be addressed before we roll out 5G for businesses on scale. First, business model. Services are provided for enterprises with base stations that they can see in the last mile of the private networks. Who should invest in and own these assets? These may be the questions kick-starting the discussion. Here, telcos need to reach consensus with enterprises about how to make it work with a virtuous cycle and business model. China Telecom started the trials 3 years ago with 5 or 6 enterprises, the early adopters of 5G. Most of the base stations were paid by the enterprises. China Telecom sold 5G O&M services and applications on top, including big data and AI algorithms, etc. Second, technology. How can 5G bring about lower latency and higher network assurance? For example, how can 5G address what we see in ports, the air interface jittering problem? How can 5G provide concurrent transmission of 8K HD video from 8 cameras? Given the spectrum shortage, great challenges remain, and technology breakthroughs are needed. Third, O&M professional services. Data modeling with industrial data generated in the 5G network will require more expertise. Along with technology integration, new teams are introduced. Collaboration between teams will present new challenges. It is essential to work out solutions centered on industrial scenarios and fine-tune the algorithms, including the trendy graph learning instead of deep learning in the industry. The AI challenge is about technology and collaboration. Let me elaborate with some examples. Sinopec is a state-owned company in China. Because it is able to pay for the base station rollouts and services, it is one of the first process manufacturing companies to conduct trials. Coal mining is another one. We have been working with Shandong Coal Mining Group to roll out private networks under the wells, which requires investment of over 100 million. In this regard, breakthroughs in business models are called for. In case of Qingdao Power Grid, connected FA brings about service innovation. Precise power distribution triggers a fundamental change in services. 5G slicing is adopted for connectivity and lower latency. I think this is a technology breakthrough. 5G is a novel technology for IoT. It is software-defined. It is more advanced than NB-IoT. If economy of scale can be reached for modules, the price will go down. Then it will become affordable to power companies including wind and hydropower ones. IoT devices are scattered around in large numbers. It needs value chain efforts from not just equipment vendors and telcos, but also module providers, service providers, and software providers like those working on edge computing and AI algorithms. Services can be provided via cloud and rental instead of relying on locally deployed standalone algorithms. Thank you, great answer. Then, Mr. Yang, let me add something. First, industrial scenarios include a number of segments. Before we reach commercial scale, we need to identify the commonality. Custom solutions won't deliver scale. To find the common requirements, you need specialized talent. In China Unicom, we have hired many people from the vertical industries. We concentrate our efforts on the selected industries. We make a conscious effort to identify commonality. When that is achieved, we can replicate across different industries. Second, the industry leaders we partner with want to build things on top of our basic platform with their industry experience. They are familiar with the industry, and they want to work with us. Based on our platform, they can develop industrial applications specifically for certain industries. Then they can do the promotion, or we can do it together. Working with industry leaders is an efficient way of reaching commercial scale and promotion. Third, we now have quite a few production applications, and enterprises often require reliability of at least 99.999% for production applications. However, 5G-enabled applications are still falling short. If you cannot meet the reliability requirements, you can only work on the peripheral systems, but you cannot get into the core systems. Take auto parts manufacturers as an example. A 1-minute downtime incurs fines of several tens of thousands. This is a major obstacle to telcos when they are exploring 5G 2B. That's all. What about you, Mr. Sun? I agree with both of you that business model and services are key factors. First, favorable policy environment is vital. In the early phase of industrial development, the government and ministries have launched many programs, such as the 512 initiative and the recent sailing plan released by MIT and 10 other ministries, 5G action plan announced by Zhejiang provincial government, etc. Such policies provide a huge boost to 5G 2B. Second, the maturity of 5G value chain is essential. Developing 5G industry is like running a marathon. It takes time for the value chain to mature. China Mobile Zhejiang established an early adopter alliance of devices and released sailing plan for 5G devices, diversifying 5G industrial terminals and reducing costs. Third, ecosystem is key. The 5G Industrial Alliance of Zhejiang Province plays a vital role in promoting 5G 2B. China Mobile has launched a 5G Plus blossoming application contest aimed at creating a 100 billion market. It is held with the support of VC platforms with 10 billion funds. Fourth, breakthroughs are needed in digital technology. 5G is a network. It needs to be integrated with cutting-edge technologies like AI, big data, cloud computing, and blockchain to move the industry forward. And that's all from my part. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question about use cases. Are there 1 or 2 5G use cases that you think are especially important and impactful, either for the enterprise today or for the future development of enterprise 5G?
Sure. Let me take a big project we've been recently working on as an example. There's a coal mine in western China. In the past, its obsolete underground communication facilities could not collect dynamic data in real time. Through updating the communication system, a private network has been built, connecting both the surface and the underground. And explosion-proof F5G, a fiber plus 5G technology, has also been used. This network reaches the bottom of the coal mine, collecting the dynamic data of gas, mining operations, and coal transportation. The entire process is enabled by the use of F5G technology and specialized sensors. Of course, all equipment should be explosion-proof. This is how data is transmitted to the management personnel, especially safety control personnel, to let them know the real-time conditions of the coal mine and predict risks in advance, thereby preventing accidents and casualties. In this case, we see that the fiber plus 5G technology can be easily deployed in the coal mine. After software decoupling. Second, a coal mine has 2 operation planes underground, and data is collected from the 2 planes. After using AI algorithms to analyze the data, we can see the dynamic changes in machines, manpower, materials, methods, and environments underground, and determine if the operation is compliant. We can also control facilities and equipment remotely to ensure safe production. Furthermore, aided by AI learning algorithms and graph algorithms, we are moving from remote control to unmanned control. The explosion-proof F5G technology is not only upgrading the communication networks, but has brought great changes to business process and operations, and has made production safer. Based on remodeled data, we have created a set of solutions integrating AI, cloud, and F5G technologies to help the coal industry to meet national requirements for safe production as well as refined management. This is a classic case. It tells us that F5G can bring breakthroughs to more process-based industries. There are opportunities for greater innovation. Thank you. I'll share 2 cases. First, in the clothing industry, the requirements for customization are shooting up. In our case, when orders are switched, we are able to reorganize a short production line in a short period of time. This capacity of small lot production can meet the increasing requirements of customization. Based on this project, we are now engaging with a leading producer of sewing machines. We hope the solution I just mentioned will facilitate the cooperation between the sewing machine maker and its clothes-making partners. So this is a good case of using our technologies to enable flexible manufacturing. Second, in the shipyard, there are many welding stations, but ships are so big, it is difficult to monitor all these stations. In the past, the data collected could only tell the shipyard that workers should start working at 8 o'clock, but they actually started at 8:15. So the shipyard should optimize management to improve work efficiency. But now, first, 5G technology is more mobile. Then it can enable high-frequency data collection in about every 10 milliseconds, which can be used to collect production data. So whenever there are changes in production processes, the shipyard can always find an optimal configuration of process parameters. In this way, the management of spare parts and welding can be rapidly optimized, and then the production quality is improved. According to our assessment, the overall production efficiency has been improved by 30%. By using the transmission capability of 5G, together with big data and AI algorithms, we can make a real difference to production systems, helping them become more efficient. I think this direction is also of great significance to the future rapid development of enterprises and the 5G 2B business. Thank you. Our two guests have shared some cases. I believe the most important application of 5G 2B is 5G plus the industrial internet. Miao Wei, the former Minister of Information and Industry Technology, said that 80% of 5G applications are related to the industrial internet. 5G's key features, namely high speed, large capacity, low latency, and high reliability, are welcomed by the industrial internet. Combining 5G and the industrial internet will bring about changes in two aspects. First, more positions will be taken by robots, meaning there will be more unmanned factories and lights-out factories. Second, fixed networks will be replaced by mobile networks, which is to use wireless instead of wired networks to enable flexible manufacturing. Data collection, machine vision, precise control, auxiliary assembly, non-destructive testing, group maintenance inspection, smart logistics, and security monitoring have been used in a wide range of 5G plus smart factory scenarios. China Mobile Zhejiang has carried out a joint innovation project of 5G smart factory with more than 40 leading enterprises and have set some industry benchmarks, such as the first factory with full 5G coverage in China. All networks are using 5G, connecting more than 200 5G MES terminals and various 5G gateways to create 15 5G application scenarios. The Zhejiang government is vigorously promoting digital transformation this year. To develop digital economy, we have proposed the core architecture of Industry Brain plus the Future Factory. We hope to complete smart factory demonstration projects and set good examples. As smart factory will use machines to replace people or to assist people, it's promising to use smart factories to reduce cost and improve quality and efficiency.
Let's talk network slicing. Looking forward, how important is network slicing going to be for your future business? And specifically, what kinds of new cases and services do you expect it will open up for you?
Okay. Slicing technology is indeed an essential capability in 5G. Major progress has been seen in R16, but further optimization will be provided in R17 to meet more scenario-based needs. Slicing seems to be a set of techniques and capabilities that provide data layering and security isolation. But it is essentially addressing end-to-end latency. We have seen many use cases and scenarios for slicing technology, like the power grid case that I shared today. The power grid uses 5G, private MEC, and slicing for FA, feeder automation. This can achieve latency of 10 milliseconds, which means we can improve the precision in power distribution from minutes to milliseconds. This is significant improvement and almost achieve real time. We are seeing more use cases for low latency. For example, in Fujian province, there's a sanitary ware manufacturer, 九牧. Latency is a critical factor for 九牧 to use robots for glazing. The idea is to use 5G and slicing to control the glazing robots. We are discussing the solution and will proceed to more technical verification. It needs millisecond level or even shorter latency to accurately spray the glaze on the sanitary ware. Another example is the wheel crane. 8 cameras are used to capture real-time footage of the wheel crane at a port. 8K HD video is transmitted to the IDC cloud computing with AI algorithms, where we can clearly see every move of the crane. When we're looking at it, feedback time is essential in automating the wheel crane. Slicing technology helps reduce the latency in every move of the wheel crane. Moving a container from the site and loading the wheels onto the truck involve a number of steps. If every step takes a few more milliseconds, it will end up with a long latency. So 5G slicing is essential in technology evolution. We also realize from various scenarios and cases that there is a long way to go. While applying slicing for data isolation and security, we hope to evolve it towards near real-time services and deterministic the TSN network, which remains weak in R17. We hope to see more startups research and develop chips for deterministic networks. Progress in chips of deterministic network can drive more slicing applications. Needless to say, robotic surgery raised rigid requirements for latency. Slicing requirements are emerging from the healthcare industry. I personally believe that slicing is a required technology. I hope 5G slicing can be continuously enhanced to further reduce latency, drive deterministic network, and enable more use cases in scenarios in need of low latency and data security. Back to you, Robert. Let me share a few more cases. We have discussed with a car OEM about integrating 5G with industrial internet for over a year. We realize that enterprises have diverse needs. For example, when 5G is used for data collection, it is not latency sensitive, but it needs connectivity. The car manufacturer needs to know in its repair area how long the car has been parked, and if the staff is compliant. Such scenarios call for huge bandwidth. Here, it does not matter whether the latency is 100 or 200 milliseconds. The key is separating huge bandwidth services from low latency ones, so that the latency-sensitive ones won't be affected by a traffic surge. Therefore, slicing technology will be essential to 5G rollouts in core production systems. Particularly, the 5G plus TSN network that Mr. Zhang talked about. Our wireless network capabilities need to evolve towards deterministic network. Only then, 5G can support highly deterministic and low latency needs in production, and 5G 2B can generate real benefits in it. 5G slicing is good for assuring SLA, enhancing security of logically separate networks, and enabling self-O&M, generating many typical use cases. First, service-oriented slicing, like those for IOV, drones, and IoT. In case of smart grid, power grids can apply slicing technology to critical missions such as collection of consumption data, distributed power, charging pole management, and precise load control. Slicing can satisfy differentiated needs the power grid has for communication network. Second, time-based slicing. It can be deployed for sports events, music concerts, and so on. Next year, we will hold Asia Games in Hangzhou, and 5G slicing can help. The problem we see in previous events is that when a large number of audience are using the network at the same time, congestion occurs. In the physical network, 5G slicing sets aside a logically separate network to ensure critical communication within the organizing committee and that for safety and protection. It can also be used to prevent breach of information. Third, location-based slicing in smart factories and smart campus. At Ningbo Port, 5G slicing is deployed at the edge to enable smart tallying, unmanned container truck, and remote control of gantry cranes. The entire production process has been upgraded with automation and intelligence. The number of persons needed to control 3 gantry cranes has been reduced from 3 to 1. As the maturity of 5G and its value chain grows, telcos and value chain partners will explore and find more use cases. That's all from me. Thank you.
Can you go into detail of some of the 5G use cases?
Good question. There are quite some, I would say, we've seen around the person quite some innovation. So especially with COVID, when a lot more people had to work from distance, or there were quite some restrictions in movements, and that is around productivity and safety. So having remote expertise from, let's say, a home often towards frontline workers or first-line workers for inspection purposes or certification purposes, saying, okay, has this repair done been adequately, and that real-time video feeds were used, and high-quality video feeds were used in an outdoor environment. Typically, there we saw quite some market demand accelerated, and where 5G adds in providing more quality compared to, or certainty compared to 4G infrastructures. We saw the first demand of AR helping improving that relationship of the expert on a distance with the first line person, not walking around together anymore on a plant in an area, but they are separated. Quite some computer vision projects. So interacting with the machine in a much more effective way by putting all the back office information into the hands of the frontline worker. And at UEFA 2021, we saw also the strength of using body cams, streaming body cams over, let's say, offline body cams, which is, let's say, the typical body cam today. We saw that when it's integrated into the process, you can have a much more effective incident response and logging for compliance purposes when you do that real time compared to offline. So that's around productivity and safety. In the automation, there are also quite some examples. So with the robotics in the HFVs in different facilities, but in logistics, there's quite some focus on having robotics over static conveyor belts. That enhances greatly the flexibility of their how they do design their warehouse and to respond to different market demands. You see that such an example like Evergreen that really disrupts the supply chain. If you have more flexibility in your warehouse, you can respond much more effectively. Those HGVs are typically deployed today on Wi-Fi, but with 5G you can deploy several brands, and also you can run them faster compared to Wi-Fi infrastructure. And running faster HGVs means less HGVs and also shorter turnaround of goods, turnaround time of goods. And a lot of deployment of cameras there for quality inspection, compliance, etc., which is much easier compared to running wires towards those cameras. And the last is the smart roadside infrastructure. You see right now there are some big programs for deploying traffic lights towards the cloud for a lot of societal benefits, because if you do that offline or decentral logic, it's designed how it was done at one time. You can optimize it a few times per year, but when you respond real time to the changing environment, it's much more efficient for the different what we find important. And running wires to all those locations is very expensive. So that means that wireless makes sense there to those roadside infrastructure. So quite a lot.
Can you tell us about Edge and 5G private networking? They seem to be critical elements of enterprise services.
It's the how. When you talk with business parts of customers, they just want, let's say, connections towards the cloud, and they want to do it in a reliable way. That's more or less, and that it meets the application requirements. How it's done, they don't mind too much, and you can do it in different ways, and often the private and Edge, it's designed, how can I achieve a simple integration into my existing on-prem enterprise architecture? That is what I've seen quite often, and that's from security perspective, or how I procure, how I work as an IT department, etc. But reality is that it often and that they ask for like a better Wi-Fi. That's, let's say, similar to the faster horses. But what I've seen is that a lot of those business cases fail because the transformative aspect of 5G is not leveraged to the full, and there you need to interact with the business quite. Okay, what kind of new opportunities does it give when it can use, let's say, only 2 AGVs in my facility to add to my conveyor belt, for example, whereas would that have some benefit towards my customers? And if you don't have that discussion, you're not leveraging the transformative aspect. So I believe that the private part leads in a lot of fragmentation. So for large corporates, there's some market, but it will only work when the ecosystem is much bigger. And I don't see, when you talk about it, you're talking about capabilities and not services. When you talk about private, or let's more like products even, rather than services. And I don't believe that that's the future, that market space will be too small and too costly.
The go-to-market strategy seems especially challenging. Do you partner? Do you acquire your own talent? How do you make that decision?
Right now, okay, let's say we stick to our guns, meaning on the services level. Let's say, in the end, we know, let's say, that's like contracted, but we know that if the customer doesn't achieve their business targets, we also fail. So they're like more like soft targets. Everyone understands when the customer makes a loss, we also have a problem, but we don't have to put penalty clauses onto it into that at this moment. We don't see the need to that because we have a mutual interest. And I would say the overarching important aspect is to prove that we are relevant in helping that business forward of the customer and the partners, and that we have a role to play there and value to add there. That is right now the key aspect there, and I think we are achieving quite well in that part.
Who will be the future leaders in 5G enterprise? The telco guests have shared with us that they are exploring with partners, and good progress has been made in standards, capabilities, private networks, devices, and applications. They will surely play a major part in 5G 2B, expanding 5G application from 1 to N. We look forward to open collaboration across the global value chain. Let's have 1,000 5G smart factories and 1,000 5G smart coal mines. The China experience can be exemplary to the world.
So, who will be the future leaders in 5G enterprise? From today's guests, we have learned that the telecom operators have made great progress in technologies, networks, services, applications. Telcos have provided the essential connectivity that enables integration with cloud, AI, AR, big data, and other technologies. Of course, the big difference between 5G and earlier generations is that it requires a high degree of collaboration between telcos and other organizations. Telcos have forged partnerships to deploy use cases and build private networks in many industry verticals. We see smart factories, mines and ports, robotic and drone inspections, environmental monitoring and remote healthcare. The clear success of many of these early use cases shows that telecom operators and their partners have the potential to be major players in the coming years as 5G grows to scale around the world. In China, the 3 leading operators have each built out impressive portfolios of hundreds of use cases in enterprise 5G. This is particularly true in the industrial internet, where 5G is upgrading traditional practices as well as enabling new ways of working, such as AR and AI.
In the upcoming 3 years, Chinese telcos will strive to achieve 3 goals for 5G 2B. First, 5G penetration in major enterprises should reach 35% by 2023. Second, there will be 100 5G application showcases in each of the selected verticals. Third, the number of 5G IoT device users should increase by 200% every year. Telcos in China and Middle East are leading the way, which will galvanize global 5G 2B efforts to drive digital economies.
Thank you to everyone who's taken part in the discussion. Let's keep these conversations going. Goodbye.